Hello and welcome to Module 12 of the NetBox Zero to Hero training course. If you haven't already checked out the earlier modules yet, then you can find the link to them in the notes below to get started. For this demo, I'm using a Docker instance of NetBox running locally on my laptop. If you'd like to follow along with the demo, then you can easily do that. There are a couple of links down below to help you spin up your own instance of NetBox, along with a link to the course that accompanies the video. Now that the new Brisbane site is active, the IT manager has asked Susan to produce some reports from NetBox to make sure that everything is being deployed in line with company standards. These standards are that every device has an IPv4 or v6 primary address assigned, and that every device meets the required naming convention standard. Susan is logged into NetBox and has already copied over the two reports into the reports folder on the NetBox server. To view the available reports, they are under the Other section and under the heading Reports. And here you can see the two reports that are available to run. And the first one that Susan will run is the IP Primary Missing report. And you can see the description says that this report will check that every device has either an IPv4 or v6 primary address assigned. So before we run the report, let's take a quick look at the code. I've opened the file called ipprimarymissing.py, and starting at the top there are the import statements. First of all, this report is working with objects from the DSIM data model, and we import the device status choices and device classes. And as you can see from line 3, each report is defined as a Python class, inheriting from extras.reports.report. Moving down to line 5, each report is defined as a Python class that performs a certain function. So here we are defining the device IP report class with its description. Then the logic of each report is broken down into discrete test methods, each of which applies a small portion of the logic comprising the overall test. So this report has only one test defined, and it loops over all devices that have a status of active, and then checks that they have an IPv4 or IPv6 primary address or not, and it logs either warnings, failures, or successes based on the results. Okay, so that's a quick run through of the code. Now flip back to the UI and let's run the report now. So click on Run Again next to the report name, and it takes just a few seconds to run. And if you look at the results, there are 3 failures. So the access point and the console server do not have either a v4 or a v6 primary IP address. And for information, the logs show that 4 devices are missing a v6 primary IP address. But that's just informational as they have v4 addresses. Fantastic, that's the first report run. So the next one Susan will run is the check device naming report. But before running it, let's take a quick look at the code again. This one is importing the RE Python module that's used for regular expression matching on the device name. And the other imports are the same as the first report. The report class definition starts on line 7, and you can see that the description is stating that this report will verify that each device conforms to the naming convention. On line 10, the test method is defined, and this is a very straightforward method, which simply loops over all active devices and then does a regex match on the device name to make sure that it's in the correct format. If a device name is not in the correct format, then it will log a failure message stating this. Okay, so let's give this report a run from the web UI. Click on Run Again, and after a few seconds that has completed, and you can see that all of the device names comply to the naming convention as there are no failure messages in the results. So that's great, and this means that Susan does not have to fix any incorrectly named devices. So I hope this has been a useful overview of what NetBox reports are and what kind of things they can be used to verify. You now know the basics of reports and also where to find documentation and examples to help you develop your own scripts. If you fancy a challenge, why not see if you can develop one of your own reports? And if you want to share this or have any questions as you go through the course, then pop on over to the NetBox Zero to Hero channel on the NetDev community Slack. If you aren't already a member, then you can sign up for free using the link below. So once again, thanks very much for watching.